لحد لعبي وهاي مقفولة همنا هسه تجيب المفتاح ونوقف هنا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأن سيدنا محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والأوصياء والصديقين وعترة نبيك الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الدين عند الله الإسلام، وما اختلف الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءهم العلم بغيا بينهم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. There is an argument and a counter-argument. Able to achieve democracy, democratic rules, stability, economic prosperity, and peace, because they were able to expel religion from the society. They are secular societies. They cut off their relationship with religion, therefore they were able to advance, to progress, to live in peace. Whereas societies that are controlled by religion and religious beliefs and religious people, these societies, they brought tension to their people. Dictatorship, despotism, poverty, sectarianism, backwardness, and failure. This is the argument. The argument is that religion is the reason for the failure of societies. Religion is the reason behind backwardness and dictatorship. So what is the answer? Do we agree to this argument? Do we accept this argument? Or we don't? And if we don't, what is the counter argument? What is the answer to this? And this argument that I just mentioned is not only among non-believers and non-Muslims. Many Muslims contribute and believe, strongly believe and advocate this argument. So what is the answer? The answer, I put it briefly in 3 points. I'm going to mention 2 points in the first sermon, inshallah, and the third point in the second sermon. Point number 1, answer number 1 to this question. I don't believe that religion is the reason for our failure. Religion is not the reason behind backwardness of the societies, behind poverty or dictatorship or other social ailments. It's not religion. In fact, it is politics and political manipulation. Religion in some countries has been hijacked, whether it is Islamic religion or those who speak on behalf of Jesus and Christianity, Christian societies, or Jewish societies like Israel, or Hindu societies like India, or Buddhist society like Myanmar and other Buddhist countries. They are disguised under the name of religion. They are not truly religious. They don't believe in the religion. they use the brand, they use the name of religion for their own political end, not necessarily religious. So this is why people blame it on religion, while religion is not responsible for the failure of these societies. Religion does not fuel tension. Does not fuel tension. Religion is about all religions, not just Islamic faith. I believe all religions, when they were established by their prophets, by their leaders, they promoted love. They promoted peaceful coexistence. They promoted respect for mankind. They promoted sacrifice and forgiveness and peace. But then it was manipulated and used by some of the followers, some of the leaders. Today, in many countries, even in Europe, if a political party wants to win the votes of the people, they use the name of the Christianity. Christian Democratic Party, this is what they say, not just in Islamic countries. In Hinduism in India, the Prime Minister Modi and his party, they are using the name of Hinduism to advance their policies, their discrimination against the Muslims. Same thing, the Buddhist societies, they use the name of Buddha and Buddhism to persecute Muslims, to persecute other communities. So unfortunately, the name of religion, whether it is Islamic or a Christian or Judaism or Buddhism or Hinduism or others, has been exploited. Religion itself is the victim of the manipulation of some people. So we should not blame it on religions itself. We should not blame it on religion itself. God says in chapter 3, Surah Al-Imran, verse number 19, God says, إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ. Religion, faith, in the sight of God is submission to God. Submission to God. So the core of religion, the essence of religion is submission to God. Those people who are using the name of religion, whether Islamic religion or Christian religion or others, they don't submit to God. They submit to their own desires, their own interests, their own will, not the will of God. If they truly submit to God, they can make their communities the happiest on earth. But because they don't submit to God, they don't. Inna ad-deena 'inda Allah al-Islam. If you truly speak about religion, submit to God. God is about love. God is about justice, universal justice. God is about the human rights, the promotion of human rights. God is about equality. God is about reaching out to the poor, to the needy. These are the principles of God. Inna ad-deena 'inda Allah al-Islam. وَمَا اخْتَلَفَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ. The people who have been given book, they only differed مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمُ بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُم. After knowledge came to them. Knowledge came to them. They knew what is right and what is wrong. They were not idiots. They were not naive. They were not ignorant. They knew what is right and what is wrong. But they chose to follow the wrong. They put their desires before God, their narrow interest before God. So this is point number one. We should not blame the failure in our Islamic countries on Islam itself, on this book, on the Prophet of Islam. We should not blame it on them. We blame it on politics, dirty politics, which is found in every country, in every society. People use the name of religion. When he wants to grab to the podium and doesn't let go of the seat of power, he uses the name of God. He uses the name of Islam, Prophet Muhammad and Imam Ali. So that is the first reason. The second answer to the question, those who came late, to the argument of some who attribute the failures, the backwardness, takhalluf in our Islamic countries to Islam. They say this is because of religion, and if we get rid of religion and we embrace secularism, we are not going to have problems anymore. The second answer to them is that look at the history of mankind. When good and genuine religious people were ruling, they were in charge. Look at the example in our history of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet came to a society, the least we can say about it, it was barbarian society. It was an inhumane society, uncivilized society. The society of Mecca. The worst society in terms of akhlaq and manners, they were the worst. They were cruel to women, to children, to each other, to their neighbors. They were very cruel, very inhumane. But within a relatively short period of time, the Prophet was able to score success. It was not an absolute success. We cannot say he was absolutely successful, no. Because still, during the time of the Prophet, there were some sick people, troublemakers, munafiqeen. إِذَا جَاءَكَ الْمُنَافِقُونَ قَالُوا نَشْهَدُ إِنَّكَ لَرَسُولُ اللَّهِ. He could not transform the entire society, but he was able to transform many people in the society. He changed them from being barbarian, backward, into being civilized, into being good believers, into being sacrificing people. They sacrificed their wealth, their souls, fi sabilillah. They did this. So it was a relative success, not an absolute success, a relative success. Same thing during the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Ali, for 4 years and 9 months of his government in Kufa, he was able to achieve social justice, at least in Kufa, in the capital. He could not reach out to the far distances, he was not there. But he was able to achieve social justice in his capital. And when we read the history, he was able to relatively eradicate poverty in Kufa, at least in his capital, within 4 years and 9 months. So he did achieve peace and justice and the promotion of human rights. And the society was stable. If you speak about earlier communities, the time of Musa alayhi salam, the time of Isa alayhi salam, before them Ibrahim alayhi salam, those people who were in charge, they were able to achieve stability and dignity and protect the human rights in their societies. So we cannot blame it on religion, always on religion. When we have people who are clean in charge, then you can see democracy. You don't see corruption. You can see some sort of justice in the society. But the idea alone, the constitution alone, to say our constitution is the Quran alone does not work. Does not work. Doesn't work. The constitution may be brilliant. If you read some of the constitutions of some of the Islamic countries, it's really brilliant, but the practice is miserable. These despotic regimes, when you read their constitution, that they drafted themselves. It's reasonable, but their practices, the implementation of the constitution is miserable, it's terrible. The constitution is perfect, but only in the book. When you go outside to the marketplace, to the streets, to the society, there is injustice, there is iniquity, there is oppression. There is a big difference. This is why God says the constitution alone does not work. Where is that in this book? He says, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ except those who have two things, good constitution and good practice. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, good constitution. They have good system, good law, good belief. But good belief does not help. Good belief alone does not help. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, they have to exercise it. They have to implement it in the society. In some countries, when you ask them, where is your constitution? They say, we don't have. Do you know Saudi Arabia, they don't have constitution. And every time when they ask them, where is they say, our Quran. This is our constitution. MashaAllah. This is their constitution. Alhamdulillah. This is why it's a brilliant democracy in Saudi Arabia. What do you need else? Alhamdulillah. Brilliant society, open society, freedom of religion, freedom of, choice. Women are dignified. People are enjoying their life. But constitution alone does not work, my friends. In America, we saw what happened. America, relatively, is a democratic country, relatively speaking. Not absolutely, relatively speaking. When you compare America to other countries, there is a freedom of religion. Yes, we do have a freedom of religion. We do have a freedom of speech in this country. No one is harassing us. Why do you say this? Why do you say that? No one. I've been speaking on this podium for 25 years. Someone came to me and said, why didn't you mention this? Why didn't you pray for that? Why did you curse this? Nobody. Freedom of speech. This is why you are staying here. Otherwise, if there is no freedom, you don't stay here. Huh? No one is staying here. There is a freedom. But then, and they have good constitution. If you read the American Constitution, it is really compatible with the values of this book. Quranic values, the American Constitution. But then, when someone ruled in the White House for 4 years, from 2016 until 2020, look what happened. There was oppression. There was racism. There was bullying. There was bigotry. There was hate. Decline of human values. Why? Because the Constitution alone does not work. You need someone who's in the White House to be clean, to be a sincere person, in order for him to implement the Constitution, the law of the land. But if someone is violating, the president himself is violating the Constitution, the first one to violate the Constitution, then there is no democracy. Then there is dictatorship. So, to write a good constitution, Islamic constitution alone is not enough. You have to implement that, to truly implement that in the society. And you, the leader, has to be the first one to say, see, this constitution applies to me. The law applies to me too. I'm not above the law. When we do that, then we can find the good and a stable system. I leave the third point to the second sermon, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal-asr inna al-insana lafi khusrin illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat wa tawasaw bil-haqqi wa tawasaw bis-sabr. Wa sallallahu wa sallama ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن سيدنا محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وصل اللهم وسلم على خلفاء نبيك وأوصيائه وأهل بيته وأحبته علي أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين وعلى البضعة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة وسيدي شباب أهل الجنة الحسن والحسين عليهما السلام وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه عباد الله أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد أرسلنا رسلنا بالبينات وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب والميزان ليقوم الناس بالقسط. I mentioned in the first sermon for those who came late that some people blame the ills in our societies on religion. They say religion is the cause of our misery, of our division, of our sectarianism, of our poverty. And I mentioned in the first sermon 2 points, that religion is not responsible. The prophets and the Anbiya and even religious leaders are not necessarily responsible for the misery in the society. It is those people who are exploiting religion and using religion. They work under the name of religion. So it doesn't mean religion itself is ruling. Religious principles are missing in many Muslim countries, many Muslim societies. Religious principles, religious values, religious laws are missing. It is the greed of some people, the exploitation of some people to religion, whether it is Islamic religion or other religions, that leads into the miserable life, into the misery of those people, these societies. Point number 1, maybe there is in secular societies, maybe it is true that there is stability, there is some economic prosperity, jobs, education, healthcare. Yes, this is true. We see this in America and North America and some parts of Europe and other democracies too. But also at the same time, my friends, there are other ills in these societies. Secular system is not perfect. There are much sufferings in their societies. There is mental illness. There is suicide in this society. There is bigotry, racism, discrimination in this society. There is injustice in these societies. Just today, this morning, I was reading a survey that in France, every 7 minutes, a woman being raped and sexually assaulted in France. The cradle, they call it, France is the cradle of democracies. Every 7 minutes in that country. They are not hungry. Those people are not hungry. They have everything. Just a few weeks ago, here in Philadelphia, a woman was raped on a train while passengers were there in the same car. For 8 minutes, the man was raping her and nobody did anything. They didn't call 911. They did not react. They did not help her. She was being raped in America for 9 minutes, for 8 minutes. And no one said anything. So there are some ills. And this is, psychologists, they call this the diffusion of responsibility. Diffusion. Everyone is saying, oh, it's not my... When you live in big cities, urban cities, this is what happens. People see the ills, someone being beaten in the street, someone being killed in the street. Everyone says, this is not my responsibility. I don't care. This is what happens. So they do have these ills. They do have these ills in these societies. There are homelessness. There is poverty too. We should be fair. When you look at any society, we see the good things and the bad things. We should not be emotional. Only look at the bad things and we don't count the good things, or only look at the good things, we don't count the bad things. We should see both of them. And that means, my friend, that finance, money, economy not necessarily is everything. Does not necessarily bring happiness and stability. It might contribute to the happiness and the stability of the society, and it might not. Alone itself does not work. It needs something else. Mal and iqtisad, finance and economy, they need something else. They need the spirituality. Because we are made of 2 parts. One part is the earthly part, the physical part, the material part. Yes, we need shelter, we need home, we need food, we need a drink. But also we need something higher than that. We need the connection with the higher power. It's not only about food and a drink. We need a connection with a higher power. You need to feed your soul, your ruh. Your ruh is hungry. Not just the stomach. You have a stomach and you have a soul. The stomach needs food and a drink, but the soul needs something else. It needs connection with a higher power. It needs value. And if these higher powers are missing, people will resort to suicide. This is why the rate of suicide, which countries they have the highest rate of suicide? Which countries? Can you tell me? Those countries that are scientifically and they are very advanced in technology. At the same time, and they are very rich. They are very rich. But also the rate of suicide is very high. One of them is Japan. One of them is Hong Kong. These countries are very rich. In Japan, the normal meal, typical meal, normal, average meal would cost you $70. Normal meal in any restaurant. They are very rich. But also they have the highest rate of suicide. Because money is not everything. You need to connect. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَتَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُمْ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. The remembrance of God. In Islam, we believe the remembrance of God, the connection of God, the power of prayers, the power of dua will diffuse the tension in your heart. Will bring about peace. Will keep you away from committing suicide. Because you remember that this life is not the end. There is another one. So if you are suffering here, this suffering is not going to last forever. There is another life ahead of you. The connection with a higher power. This is important. So we cannot expel religion and faith and say we blame it on faith. Every ill in the society, it's because of faith. No, it's not that. Because even in advanced societies, my friends, in advanced societies, they need religion. In this country, in America, in some parts of Europe, the church plays a vital role in the lives of the people. Vital role. Even in politics in America, the church has a say in politics in this country. They need religion. 70% of the American people, they say we believe in religion. 70%. This is a high percentage in this country. They say religion is important, even though they don't practice, but they believe that religion is important in their life. One last thing. Why do we have social ills? When you go to people, they only blame it on what? Either religion. This is religion. Or they blame it on the government. But how about us, the people? We don't have any role. We don't have any role. Sometimes it is us. Are we good citizens? Are we good fathers, good mothers, good husbands, good wives, good children, good citizens? Are we? Let's ask ourselves. We think that Islam is only prayers and fasting. When they want to speak about an Islamic society, they say they pray, they fast. But it's not only about prayers and fasting. My friends, I have said this many times here. Prayers and fasting, salat and siyam, are not the end. They are not the end. They are not the goal. They are the means, the road to achieve an end. What is the end? What is the end? The end is social justice, universal justice. The end is peace, real peace. The end is the promotion of a human rights and a human dignity. This is the end. The end is to love people, not to hate them. The end is not to keep a grudge in your heart. Even if do something bad to you, try to forgive. Power of forgiveness is incredible. Transforms people, power of forgiveness. If we just get hold of forgiveness, out of all the values of this book, only forgiveness. We can transform ourselves. We can be better citizens. We can live with happiness, with satisfaction, with rida, with acceptance, with inner satisfaction, inner happiness. Only forgiveness. If you try to forgive people, all people around you. This is the essence of religion. This is the essence. In some countries, they think only salat, salat, salat. Believe me, in some countries, they do too much salat, too much prayers. I've seen them. But when you come to the society, no Islam in the society. No Islam in their relationship. No Islam in the marketplace. No Islam between the rich and the poor. No, Islam is missing. Why? Because this is ritual. Salat, if you keep just up and down, up, ruku', sujood, ruku', sujood, ruku', sujood, then it becomes ritualistic. It loses the essence, the soul. Salat is the means. God did not say pray your whole day and whole night. Pray as you need to fuel yourself. To fuel yourself, to remind yourself of your Lord, of your responsibility, and then go to the market. Go outside, go and help. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ. This is a beautiful expression about the Friday prayers. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ. Once you fuel yourself here for a few minutes, فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. No. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. Go into the land. Go show your beauty, your sacrifice, your love, your help, your respect, your responsibility. Go display it outside with your family. This is how we create the good society. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Mu'mineen, today we heard the news that Hajj Ali Kareem, our good friend, who is really generous, has passed away in Iran. He was Hajj Ali Kareem 20 years ago. He donated the Persian carpet here in this masjid 20 years ago. He passed away. So I asked you to join me. He's a good friend of our Islamic Center and our community and many of you. And he was really generous. His last name is Kareem and he was Kareem too. So let's remember him in Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawm ad-din. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim walad-dallin. We give condolences to his family. We ask Allah to embrace him with his kindness and generosity too, inshallah, with his paradise. Also, we give condolences for the passing away of Hajj Ali Muhammadi Qahari, the brother of Khanum Khudai and the uncle of Dr. Omid, who passed away in Iran, and Hajj Khanum Fatma Salahi, and also a member of our community. 3 days ago she died, Marhuma Hajja Nahiya Muhammad Rida Al-Zahid. Her memorial is going to be tonight at 7 p.m. inshallah, 7 to 9 p.m. here at this masjid. And also the sister of our dear brother Hajj Ahmed Khalifa, his sister Hajja Ibtisam Ja'far Khalifa died in Beirut, Lebanon. So I ask you to remember them in Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.